If you have legal questions, you can contact me, the Real Life Lawyer, right here on this YouTube channel. Make sure that you send your comments, you DM your comments, and then hopefully these guys will let me sit back on this couch and I'll answer a few of them. We won't be able to answer all of them, but we'll do what we can, and we'll try to give you a overview, a general overview, because every state has different laws.
Real life, real life. If that ain't real life,
It ain't real life. Just ain't real life street stars. You know what time it is. Real life street stars.
Oh, yeah.
We got them back. We got the Real Life Lawyer Reacts, man. Larry Taylor's back in the building, and we got to get your reaction to certain things that go on. And we're not even gonna waste the people's time, man. We want to get right into it, man.
Let's do it.
YSL Woody took a break. The prosecution allowed him to take a break. Then they brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
And from your comments prior, you have an interview, you have a clip right now that's going viral speaking on YSL Woody's. This is a masterclass on how to confuse or just kind of run away with being a witness. I want to break down a few things that happened in the last 24 to 48 hours in that case, if you don't mind talking about it. Have you seen some of
I've
Woody?
seen, yeah, I have.
Okay.
And don't forget, we have a second clip where I told you within the first 5 minutes of the new trial date that my man Woody, I was concerned. I was concerned because the DA, I think, was leading toward trying to lock him up.
Correct.
And so people can go back and look at that, and then let's look and see what happens in this case.
So right now they are on halt until after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
The prosecution, it's funny because I'm like, I want to prosecution had the closing arguments. It feels like closing arguments of the whole case because they've been on Woody for so long that the prosecution finally rested its closing statements with Woody. It ain't even the goddamn case, but they finally stopped questioning him. Miss Harris, the attorney on the prosecution, finally, said, okay, we're going to pass it to the defense.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just break down some things that happened in which the prosecution ended their case. So first and foremost, I want to, because there's some things that I just jotted down. I want to kind of get your take on. Woody has said, they asked him, Ms. Harris asked him, do you know what immunity means? And he said, man, I don't know what's going on. Like, that's his response. Man, I don't know what y'all say. Y'all are saying things. I'm hearing you, and I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
How does that help the defense, hurt the defense? How does that help the prosecution, hurt him? When a man who you've been basically asking questions and he just, I don't recall, to towards the end of that, when you ask him, you've had immunity, correct? And he says, I don't know what's going on. Please, what's your thoughts?
Man, the whole situation with Woody has been confusing to everybody. The general public, the judge, the lawyers,
all the judges.
And I don't even know what the jury is making of this. And it's no downplay on Woody, right? The man has told you numerous times that he lied. He told you numerous times that he didn't want to be there. He tried to be gracious and tell you that he didn't remember. And that sets up, I think, what is potentially going to be a hung jury. Or I don't think this judge, the way she's been operating and managing the case, is going to allow for a mistrial. But I do honestly believe that we could get into a situation where we're going to get a hung jury because his testimony, because we can't forget who's actually on trial.
Correct.
And we all have.
Correct. I'm thinking literally, Woody has said this person, he said, I feel like I'm on trial.
And he is. And man, I told you that discussion he had, and he talked about his relationship with God touched me.
Yeah, no, that was a real discussion.
That
from a humble man from a humble place.
Yeah, that touched me. And and then when my man was up there saying, man, y'all kept me up here all day. You kept me in interrogation. And we talked about that the first time.
Right.
You kept me there and I'm hungry.
He said, my stomach hurting.
He said, man, I'm in pain.
Yeah.
Man, come on, man. There are what I want to say. The Geneva War Act says that you cannot do prisoners of war like that.
Correct.
And for them to sit up there and do this, brother, like that, man, is a spit in the face of justice.
Correct. Most people that watch, let's say, any court, just any show, any movie about, some type of trial, a witness comes in, they ask a few questions, they get off. Some murder cases, you may ask a witness or even the person, the person that's being prosecuted on, he may be up there for maybe a couple days. On average, just from your knowledge of cases, to be up there for weeks, one witness, this is just a witness. Is that normal? Like,
No,
to go weeks on one witness?
no. I mean, because I think it honestly became personal in some regards. I think the prosecution took it personally that he basically played around with them and made a mockery of them the first trial setting. The second trial setting, I told you, they came back, they came prepared. They had a roadmap, they followed it. They did a pretty good job because they frustrated him and they got him out of character. And that's what a good lawyer, that's what you're supposed to do. You're either going to go so long that you get them to the point where they start saying things out of character, or you're going to cut them short so that they can't hurt you. And so I honestly think that the prosecution changed their scope and decided that they have a new target. And I'm afraid that target might be Woody and some others, but we'll have to see where it goes from here.
Should Woody be capitalizing off all this like he's doing?
I am going to say, man, we live in America. I mean, the presidential nominee has raised funds with his jail picture. I'm just saying. If we're talking about Woody ain't running for nothing.
Right.
There are people who make, dude, how many pictures? Remember, I think it was in the mid-90s. You had all the famous gangsters and you had their jail photo with their numbers. I mean, man, we live in a capitalistic society. And so why shouldn't this young man who's only been asked to testify not take advantage of the opportunity? I ain't gonna say no names, but it's some people who's made millions off of videotapes.
Kim Kardashian? What you talking about?
I'm
sorry. Yeah, we ain't saying no names. I apologize.
I didn't even think about her.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Kim,
I don't know how that even hit my head.
Kim, I didn't say that. Matter of fact, I don't even think he said Kim.
I said Jim. Them. I said them.
Them.
Yeah.
Okay. Them.
So
them did make some money.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you, because they literally brought up and again, I'm gonna get to the defense side of things. They brought up he did an interview with DJ University. So him doing the interview, I'm sure he got paid to do it, has actually came into the case to where the defense asked, you did an interview with DJ University, correct? Yes. And then he goes, you said on this interview that God saved you, or you scared to run red light, whatever he said. So that's the fact that you're doing interviews, that they're going to use that now within this YSL case. Is that smart to say, I'm going to go out and do interviews while I'm an open witness? Again, he's just a witness. He ain't even on trial. Is it smart for him to still be able to come out here and talk about the case?
It just depends, man. I mean, number one, I don't think he should really be talking about the case. Yeah. If he's going to talk about anything, he should talk about how maybe this has affected his family, how, being on the witness stand, how does that feel? Because a lot of people think that just because you're on a witness stand, they think they can do it. No. As someone, I look at movies and say, man, I could do that. My first movie I was in and I had to act, and I had it easy. I played myself. It was hard as hell.
To play yourself was hard.
To play myself was hard. Them cameras get on you, and you got somebody who's a seasoned actor, and they sit up there doing Shakespeare and voice and vocal coach. I'm like, dude, this over my head. Right. And so I had to take some time off and go get myself together so I could come back.
Study yourself.
Yeah. I had to come back and literally I had to read my lines several different ways on videotape and listen to them time and time again, and so that I could learn my lines, but also to kind of figure out and play off of my counterpart on how they did it, right? So if they raised their voice, how was I going to do my lines and raise my voice to match their energy? And so, to be a student, you just Michael Jordan didn't just pick up a basket. He didn't even make the school team the first time. So, going back to Woody doing these interviews, the man should be able to capitalize off of his, whether it's 15 minutes or 15 years of fame.
Yeah, he's making more money than Young Thug right now. I'm assuming as a free man.
Once again, I didn't say that.
Yeah, and mind you, as you hear these voices behind the camera, we don't know what's true. we just be saying stuff. So hold on, so let me go back to the immunity part.
I like the way they say stuff, and I'm the only one.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, we can get away with all kind of things behind this camera.
Yeah,
I didn't say that. Yeah, I didn't say that. Let me go back to immunity. Should immunity, the clause of what you're getting, should that be in writing? Do you think Woody got something in writing, or they just told him, if you go on and say this, do they have to put something in writing? He has to sign it normally when someone says, we're going to give you immunity if you do this.
PSA time. We're going to have to make a little thing.
Yeah, PSA time.
If you are dealing with the government in a criminal matter, get everything in writing and get a signature. A signature, a wet signature. You want a wet signature. You don't want a digital signature. You want a wet signature so that you are protected.
Okay. There you go. That's what you said?
But, it's video evidence of him saying, so I can say what I want to say, right? And he says it, right, when he testifies.
Give him the okay, yeah.
Is that okay? Like, or could they come back in the long run and be like, yeah, well, let me look into some other shit you did. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you're capable of doing this. So what else did you do?
It's really hard for me to speak on his immunity without reading the actual agreement, right? But, one of the biggest fears and concerns I have is those agreements are like purchases at McDonald's. If I go up and I make an order of fries and I hand over, let me take that back because we don't want to give anyone.
Yeah, not McDonald's. Let's call it McDowell's.
McDowell's. Let's say McDowell's. If I go to McDowell's and I want to purchase, a brother fish sandwich, and it's $5, and I hand my $5 to the person behind the counter, my expectation is I'm going to get my sandwich.
Yes.
If I don't get my sandwich, do we still have an agreement?
Well, is there a receipt?
No, let's just say all paperwork is solid.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Do I?
Then no. If you don't get that sandwich,
we don't have an agreement.
We don't have an agreement.
So I need my $5 back.
Correct.
And so that's one of my biggest fears is I don't know what the agreement says, but it's going to be imperative that whatever agreement he has, he at least followed what he said he was going to do. If he doesn't, there could be ramifications from that.
They said he could be charged with perjury, is what they stated. His response to a lie was, I don't recall. Can he be charged for perjury for lying under oath? And if they assumed that what he said before was truth, like, because again, if he just said this earlier to get the immunity, like, oh, you gonna say that on court? Yeah, say all that in court. And then for him to go back and say, I don't recall.
Was his safest bet?
Was it safe? Okay.
It's the safest, and it happened. What did he sign those agreements in?
2015. They're naming dates from 10 years ago. Yeah.
Right. And so, you're talking about almost 10 years ago, him saying he doesn't recall was truthful. This man does not possibly remember.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Right?
Right.
He possibly doesn't remember every detail that he told them.
Correct.
Because he was under the gun. He's in an interrogation room. He hadn't been fed. He's been in there all day. He's worried about his baby mama. I think he said in his video that there were people shooting at him all the time and shooting at his kids. And so he went there to protect them. This man was under what is the pure definition of duress.
Correct. And they're supposed to ask that too. Are you under duress? At least just to get they don't have to ask that, but they should ask it. Are you, even you talking to us now, is anyone making you talk to us? Are you under alcohol? Are you influenced by anything right now?
Should have had a lawyer present.
He should have had a lawyer present. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know.
Should have had a lawyer present.
let me ask you, because he did say Miss Harris was closing. She was closing out, and before she could close out, Woody started to cry, saying, "Man, I was fighting for my life. I was getting shot at. My kids were getting shot at. I was gonna say anything to protect me." And he started tearing up and asked the judge, "Can he take a break?" And it sounded like he about to get up and walk out the courtroom, but judge said, "Don't go nowhere. Come sit back down. Stay right here. But yes, please gather yourself." Because he got that emotional, and the prosecution pushing him. How does that look, or how does that play to a jury? Would you say?
I'm going to say what he did was going to make you very sympathetic because it was honest, man. Yeah. The hardest of us, right? The toughest man or woman that you start talking about your child and possibly losing your child over foolishness.
Yeah, you can relate.
Bruh, you know what I'm saying? My son, when he was 4 years old, we were driving, we were driving on in DeSoto off of Hampton. I remember it like it was yesterday. And that was 20 plus years ago. And he said, "Dad, what would you do if I wasn't here?" I had to literally pull the car over because that question literally ripped my soul. And I had to turn to him in the back seat and his car seat and tell him, I said, "Son, just the sheer fact that you said that, Dad doesn't even know if he can, I'm having a hard time breathing."
Yeah, protection of the kids is
Right.
utmost.
And
utmost.
so the jury has to understand that. And so the jury's probably asking themselves, like many of us, okay, man, why did you do this man like this? And why did you bring him back? You could have asked him, "Do you remember anything on this video?" You could have played the video and say, "Is that you? Is that your voice? Does this seem accurate?" Yes. Boom, give that to the jury.
Yeah.
It was no need to beat him up on that because it hurt their case because it just clouded the water.
Right.
Woody has said, as he's speaking, he said, "I feel pressured by the defense and the prosecution. Like, for me to come speak," because they asked him, like, "Well, you chose to come speak as part of your immunity." He's like, "I feel pressured by both sides." So he's like, "I'm not really choosing no sides here. It's like, it's coming from everybody." Again, from your standpoint, who is Woody supposed to be helping here? I'm like, is he helping Thug's case or hurting Thug's case? Is he helping the state or is he hurting? I'm confused after watching all this. And again, it's going to kick back up in a couple of days, but I'm like, I don't know what the purpose of having him to keep coming on this. Like, even the judge, I'm like, why isn't she saying, "All right, it's enough with Woody"? Oh, I know she can't say it, but she at least call him to counsel. Like, what are we doing, y'all? Like, let's move on.
She actually did warn them the first go around and say, "Okay, I don't know how much longer you're going to go with this, but get to it." She can shut it down. She can tell them, "Hey, look, you got an hour. Ask your final questions and let's move on."
Who do you feel Woody is helping at this exact moment? Is he hurting Thug's case or is he helping Thug's case?
I don't really think that there's a this or that. If I had to give a slight nudge, I think he's helping Thug's case because, once again, he said so many things that are going to be in the jury's mind.
Oh yeah.
That it's going to be very difficult for them to really, because it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt.
Correct. He's creating a lot of doubt.
Dude, this is the doubt case. This is for sure doubt. This ain't even reasonable.
Yeah.
I really don't know what's happening. Right?
Right. That's what the jury is saying, right? Like, I'm losing it now.
Because it's been what, 2 or 3 people that have died during this whole course of interaction.
Correct.
How do we know one of them didn't do it? Right? How do we know who did what? The person who we're actually here for that died, how do we know that he didn't kill someone? We don't know anything, right? It could have been somebody's mama who figured out that this man shot her baby and she did it. She dealt with it. We don't know. And the fact that I, at some point, forget that Thug is even involved in the case.
You just forget about it.
Yeah, they don't show. Now, mind you, they've been talking about Woody the whole time. They just brought back up Thug because you see him on camera,
And he
wiped his nose, and he did it so slick like that. And this is why Woody was on the stand. In the world of wiping noses, that to some people mean, you know, not a good thing. It's not a positive thing. It's more of a negative thing. And you don't have to know what that means. I'm not asking you to go down the criminologies of what wiping the nose mean or sliming someone out or slat, but more so doing an action like that in court and trying to conceal it a little bit with Thug. Do you feel like that's a message being sent? And mind you, I don't know if you've seen it, but do you feel like messages should be sent in a moment of, you know, that, you know, like where a Thug is sitting down?
This is what I tell my clients. I always train my clients to sit in a courtroom and to be not necessarily emotionless, but don't hurt your case. Sit with your hands crossed or take notes. I don't care if you're writing the new lyrics to your brand new song, right? Like I just got off. I don't care. You know, do something that looks constructive and not destructive. Because the moment that you squeeze a pen, the moment that you give a gaze, there's someone on the jury who's watching you intensely. And it's the moment that they pick up on that, they're going to connect that to what's being said and consider you validating that exact thing. And so you have to be very careful, right? That whole sucking your teeth, you know, no, man, sit there just like this.
Even as the prosecutor is going at you, like, and I've been in that situation. And to you there, you understand how what it really is. It's a person. The prosecutor is a person that is there to fuck you up. Like, so how do you tell your client to even withstand that? Because it's crucial. They're talking about you like you're an animal. You know what I'm saying? They come at you like you're the scum of the earth.
You know, man, most I can't say, you have some lawyers, we talked about it last time, not all lawyers are equal.
Right.
I sit down with my clients and we do mock trials.
Right.
To give them a feel for what's going to happen. One of the most dangerous things that you can do is to tell your client a whole bunch of information and then throw them on the stand, expecting them to be able to adapt to a situation they've never been in. Right? I ain't never been in war. We ain't gonna talk about that. But you take the average person and throw them somewhere, throw them in the water with sharks. Even though they know how to swim, they ain't never dealt with this. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna potentially panic and splash. Where if you put them in a pool with a bunch of goldfish and try to teach them, okay, stay calm, move like this, move like that. Then when they actually get in that situation, they don't see sharks, they see goldfish, and they can react accordingly.
I'm just curious because it just came to my mind when you said, you know, stay there, just look straight, you know, focus, don't give them nothing. I'm just curious, what does one do when they're on trial and they have to take a shit? Like, do they, like, how do you stop, like, the court to say, hey, man, I gotta go?
You know, you this is where having your lawyer be a good teammate.
There you go. Okay.
Right? If there's certain things that are happening. So I had a case, it wasn't even, matter of fact, it wasn't even my witness. And I saw something happening with the witness. And I literally stood up and said, Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to ask for a recess. I need to take care of some things. And we stopped it. And the judge peeped out why I did what I did. And so I got brownie points for being a good guy. But you have to have a good teammate. Like
a dancing partner. Like, right. This is a dance.
Right. And so if you need a break and you're not getting a break or something's happening and you signal, if you ask for it, I'll tell you, so let's just ask the judge. And if you ask for a recess and the judge declined, I might stand up and say, Judge, at this point, I'm going to insist we have a recess because I need to speak to my client about XYZ. Or I need to leave because I got to go to the bathroom. I ain't got a problem saying I got to go because my job is to protect my client.
There you go. So I'll fall on the sword for you. So let me ask you this. The defense went up. Thug's lawyer, Max Shard, I forget his name or something like that. He goes up there and I believe he does a more, I don't want to say masterful, but he does a better job than the prosecution when it comes to getting Woody to, versus saying, I don't recall, going back to see the statements he said on video or words he wrote, asking more so, was that you speaking? Yes. You have to get yeses and nos. And that's what he was getting towards. Like, let me get yeses and nos out of him. Not saying you're admitting to no truth. And did you say that? And did you meet? He just got yeses and nos. Is that you sitting there? Yes. Is that you speaking those words? Yes. He broke it down more simply to where he had a point to get at to cause confusion towards, and again, it goes back to the Rich Homie Quan situation, the shot up of the barbershop. And I said, that was more masterful versus whatever the lady, Miss Harris, was doing. And again, it's just me as an average citizen watching. If I'm a juror, I'm like, man, he did way better with handling the way Woody's questioning was going to get him to at least admit that was him speaking back in 2015. And then did he say those words? Yeah, because I'm playing it for you. So I just felt he did a masterful job. So I do believe where the case is about to go with the defense, because he's still on. They're gonna bring him back. I feel like, in my personal opinion, he's really helping Thug's case to free the man. And I don't know if that's intentional with him and Thug. And do you think him and Thug have because they're trying to get him to say he's a snitch, and what does snitching mean in the streets, and are you scared to stop at red lights because people are going to kill you? They're trying to get him to admit it. He said on camera or on testimony that I was already labeled a snitch before this whole thing started.
Right.
When y'all leaked the video
Right.
of me talking to the laws. So me being here doesn't take that jacket off me. With that being said, how do you feel, just as a curiosity, how do you feel the defense is going to take Woody for the rest of his testimony if they do bring him back up?
I think the defense is probably going to continue to hammer in on the fact of his statements of I don't recall or I lied. And they're going to do all of those things to unravel the testimony that he did or the statements that he made in that video. And I think that's going to be their primary focus. And so I don't know, whoever the lawyer was that was crossing Woody when he made that comment about God, I think he really showed out and he really demonstrated what good lawyering is. And I'm not saying any of the other lawyers are bad lawyers, but he did some of the things that most lawyers forget to do, which is you have a line of questioning in your mind. You ask the question, you get the response that you want, but the witness is going on and you cut him off with the next question. If you watch him, he'll say, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Continue. He started off with small questions, like you said, and I said that in the first video.
Yeah, you did.
Which is you want to ask questions that aren't really controversial to get them in the mood of answering your questions or responding with a yes or a no. And then once you get a witness in the response of answering with a yes or no, as you go down later on, then you get into harder questions.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. And one thing I wanted to know and get your take on one second. With the judge. This is the second. They say it's the third judge. Like, I don't remember the first judge. I remember the black guy and the judge. Even Woody got a new lawyer. From a juror standpoint, just the change of guard from lawyers to judges. What do you think that does in a juror's head? Like, man, does it look like it's a mess, or does it look like, man, it must be something to it because, they're trying to keep this guy free and this must be something that's going on behind the scenes. What do you feel going through a juror's head?
You guys want to play a game?
Well, let's play.
I'm going to reserve my response to that. Okay. And we're going to have your viewers comment.
Oh, I like that.
The first viewer that responds correctly as to what I would say, we'll give $100 gift card.
Oh man, look at that. So that means y'all
It's
get
just a
active.
Yes, just a yes or no.
Just a yes or no. Yeah, y'all get active. Y'all get active. $100 gift card.
Real life.